Because remember, the initial video that came out 2 days ago showed a Z Fold 8 opened with no crease, a completely flat, plain display. Holy crap, that was big news, right? Now, I'm going to take Ice Universe's word for it. He came out yesterday and said, hold up, that video is not, he said the video is real, but he said that's not a Z Fold 8. He said that's technically a Z Fold 7, and then left it at that. And then yesterday we kind of went through the process of elimination, and we're like, well, hold up. If that's a Z Fold 7, the Z Fold 7 had a crease in it. So how is that in the video a Z Fold 7? Well, I think that's a pre-production unit that they were testing this hinge out, this new hinge that they're implementing on the Fold 8 series. I think that was a hinge that they were going to use in the foldable, but after lots of testing, lots of R&D, lots of quality control, they connect them up to these machines that open and close it like 100,000 times. I think that hinge they were using turned out, well, obviously it turned out to be a dud because they didn't put it in their phones because there's still a crease. So at some point within that testing, they thought, yeah, we can't use this hinge quite yet, right? I mean, probably would create a crease after, or excuse me, some sort of issue after so many open and closings. So that brings up the next question of, okay, so is it still going to have a crease? And I don't know, because today we got word Samsung's unveiling their new um, display technology, their creaseless display technology. Huh? So at first, and we're going to get into it. So we get a video that claims to be a Z Fold 8 with no crease. And then Ice Universe comes out. And if we should believe anybody, it's him. He's, again, not 100, he's close to 100%, like 99% rock solid. Whatever he says comes true. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one just because he's right on almost everything else. But it makes you wonder. So we saw a creaseless Fold 8 on video. Ice Universe 2 days ago. Ice Universe comes out yesterday and says, nah, that's not it. And so leaves us wondering, well, it must still have a crease then, right? And then Samsung comes out today and puts their new display technology, their creaseless display technology, folding creaseless display technology out. And today I'm like, well, does it have a crease? Does it or does it not? Now, maybe it's good marketing, right? Maybe somebody at Samsung, very freaking clever, because you got me all over this, scratching my head, wanting to dig up information and look into as much as I can. Maybe that's the point. Maybe they want people like you and I to be all over this. Marketing is doing its job, right? That's what marketing is all about. They want you to notice their product. They want you to buy their product. If the more you notice it, the more likely you are to purchase it. So let me pull up. So here we have, and I'm going to pull up an article that explains it, but here is, apparently this is a new thing, right? This is new technology that Samsung's just now implementing on the Fold 8 series. Now, here's another question. Are they implementing this new folding display technology only on the Fold 8 series, the Fold 8 and the Fold 8 Ultra? What about the Flip 8? Are they going to use, because that would be cool too. Look, the crease really doesn't bother me on the Flip series because it has gotten smaller with time, but is it going to be crease free? I have no clue. We'll just have to wait and see. But you have the protective layer up top, essentially a screen protector. You have the UTG, the ultra thin glass below the protective layer, below the screen protector. Now that ultra thin glass is like, technically it's glass, but if anybody's used a foldable, it's like a plastic display. It's not like your typical phone screen that's all glass. You can look, I had to get a Flip 6 or a Flip 7 display repaired or the protective layer. I had to get it replaced because one of my cats here, one of their nails punctured the top layer of my flip of the inner display. I think it was the flip 6. You know, just one of those things. They're very delicate. If you're gonna get a foldable, you absolutely have to get insurance on it. That's a deal breaker for me. If I can't have insurance on a foldable, I'm not getting it. Then you have the OLED panel underneath the ultra thin glass. You have, this is their new technology here, titanium alloy film. Titanium alloy film. And then you have the new titanium plate underneath. So it sounds like to me, I'm going to pull up this article. Sounds like to me, this might have zero crease. Like, fingers crossed, right? Because I want Samsung to succeed. I want them to beat Apple, even though we all know Apple's probably going to sell more iPhone Ultras than Samsung's going to sell Z Fold 8s. Let's just be honest. But I want them to do good. Right? Even though I may not buy one, I still want them to succeed. You see what I'm saying? It's good for everybody. So let me pull up this article here and I'll show you a little bit what this is all about. An article on Android Authority. Samsung shares the secret behind its next generation creaseless foldable displays. Here's how Samsung's Flex Titanium technology aims to rival non-folding screen quality. So remember the keywords here. Creaseless. Creaseless, right? Is it going to have a crease or is it not? Creaseless. Okay. So Samsung is about to launch a trio of new foldable phones. No surprise, right? We knew this, including the Fold 8 Flip 8. Rumors have already been suggesting these devices could feature virtually creaseless display panels. Samsung now details how it plans to achieve this with its new Flex Titanium tech. So, Apple's secret to having a creaseless foldable is in their hinge. Now, I'm not saying that Apple's display tech, of course it's a Samsung OLED, but I'm talking about the panels, the layers that go above the OLED panel and below the OLED panel. You know, you still have to have the right ingredients, remember, to make something like this come to fruition. But the key ingredient for Apple is the new hinge, the liquid metal hinge that Apple's using on the iPhone Ultra. When you open it up, that liquid metal inside the hinge is actually going to push up on that crease where it folds in half and make it a creaseless display, right? Now, Samsung, it appears to me they're doing the opposite. They're putting all their cachet into this new display. Not to say that their hinge is trash, or it is a all-new hinge, even from last year, all new redesign. And again, not saying the hinge is not a key factor, but all we're seeing here right now before launch is in this new display technology. So I guess we'll find out. But it says ahead of the formal debut, Samsung is unveiling and putting the spotlight on its latest achievement, Flex Titanium. So what the hell is Flex Titanium? Building a good foldable, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we know this. Flex Titanium is Samsung's branding for a new innovative approach to its foldable design that relies on two key components. A flexible, super thin titanium alloy foil that's integrated into the display itself, right below the OLED panel, and a titanium plate underneath for flexible yet robust support. And there's your graphic we saw earlier. So this new alloy film is designed to be a much stiffer alternative to something like a polymer, which is currently used, letting Samsung add stability to the display without increasing thickness. This film is only 1/3 the diameter of a human hair. I'm going to repeat that. This new Flex Titanium technology that Samsung using, this new film that's made of titanium, is only 1/3 the diameter of a human hair. That's pretty incredible. Like, that's pretty impressive. So now underneath that is supported by that titanium plate, and by covering it with excuse me, Jesus, I can't even talk. Covering it with micro patterned holes where it folds. Samsung says it's been able to let it stay flexible while still tightly bonding to the display above it. That secure connection is intended to help with long-term durability, and all without interfering with the ability to easily fold and unfold as needed. It says, because they're using very choice words, so remember, in the back of my mind, I'm still trying to figure out if this is going to have a crease or not. So it said near creaseless, but it says, according to Samsung, this all makes for a no compromise solution that achieves design, quality, and endurance goals all at once. Even though the company acknowledges that titanium can be challenging material to work with, Samsung sounds very pleased with the ultimate solution it's managed to cook up, and is excited about showing it off with next week's phones. So I guess time will tell. I mean, I really don't know what to take from. Let's see if there. Wait, hold on. What does this say here? It says we don't. Okay, I still don't know if they're going to put this in the flip. All right, I get it. They're going to put it in the fold, but they're not really being specific. And maybe they don't know. I mean, I'm talking about Android Authority, but I still want to know if it's going to be implemented in the flip. Are you getting a folding phone with the price hikes? I think I'm going to get the flip. I think I'm going to get the Flip 8. I previously stated that I was not, that I was going to take a break, so to speak. And same thing with Pixel, right? It's a big deal to me, the 200 charging cycle thing, because that essentially means on the Pixel that I can only use it for 6 months, and then it's going to go in the drawer like my Pixel 10 Pro. I haven't pulled it out in months. Like, it's just parked there. I don't want to buy a phone and enjoy it for 6 months and then have to put it away. So I'm going to take a break on Pixel. Now, I mentioned earlier my wife is still going to get one. But getting back to Samsung, I was going to take a break on the Flip because I've had every single Flip ever made. And I really like them. I can't do the foldables. I can't do the Fold 7, the Fold 8, the Fold 6. It's a design thing with me. Whatever. I love the flips, right? Especially for recording. It's cool because you can record videos on the front facing. You can record videos as a selfie, but with the rear cameras because you can flip it around, right? Plus, the whole nostalgia thing, like my first cell phone was a flip phone. So, it just takes me back to those days. Anyways, I love the flips, but I was going to take a break because I essentially use it for 6 months, and then for whatever reason, I can't put a finger on it. I just kind of get bored with it, and then I just end up selling it, right? So I was like, I've literally done that every single year. So I'm like, what's the point? They're more expensive. I'm probably just going to do the same thing, repeat that same pattern. So I was like, let me just save myself money and, all the other stuff that comes with it. And I'm just going to skip it this year. Until last week, we found out Ice Universe put out a tweet saying that this was going to be the very last small foldable, or did he say foldable or flip phone from Samsung? I was like, say what? How could Samsung pull the plug on the Flip? It's their highest selling foldable. It sells more than the Fold series, believe it or not. It does. And I think just a simple reason, because it's cheaper, right? So, since I love the Flips so much, I thought to myself, and I literally as soon as I saw that tweet, I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to get this one. Because if it is their last one, I want to buy one. I want to hold on to it. And I'm not actually going to keep this one. If I get bored with it, I'm not going to sell it. I'm just going to put it in the drawer next to the Pixel. But I want to have the last model of a line that I truly enjoy. So Yes, I will be getting one, even with the price hikes. Now, one way that Samsung is going to try to, and I think a lot of companies, you're going to see a lot of companies adopt. Um, I think you're going to see a lot of companies adopt this same type of theory when it comes to selling new products, right? Because think of the car market. It's so hard to sell cars now, brand new cars. You really have to entice the buyer to purchase it, right? You got to give them incentive to buy it. Well, I think these phone manufacturers are going to have to get really clever with phones because they're getting mad expensive. So, one way they're going to negate the price increase is, well, they can do a lot of things, but the easiest, most simple thing you can even think of right off the top of the head is increase the trade-in values for these devices that we trade in, right? You trade in, and they give you whatever. What do they give you for? I think when you purchased the Flip 7 last year, if you traded in the Flip 6, the previous year's flagship Flip, I think they would give you $700, right? So we know that that's basically what they're going to do, because if you signed up for the Unpacked event to reserve your Galaxy, if you look at the fine print, it says save up to, of course it says save $30. Like, whoop-de freaking do, $30. But if you look below that, it says and save up to $1,280 on your trade-in. Say what? I think that's more than last year. I think. Now that might be for if you buy a Fold 8, that might be for last year's Fold 7. But I'm anticipating the base Flip, getting back to the Flip 8, I think instead of being $999, essentially $1,000 like the Flip 7, I think you're going to see a hefty price increase. So I think they're going to, from the European pricing sheet, and I know it's not an exact equivalent, but if you convert those euros to what they're going to sell in Europe, that Flip 8 was going to be $1,486. $1,486. Now, it's not a one-to-one conversion. They'll probably drop it to $1,299. That's what I think. $1,299 for the Flip 8. So one thing they can do, instead of offering $700 for your previous year's flagship, they can give you, if you have a Flip 7, they'll probably increase that trade-in value to $800 or $900 probably. So you're still gonna have to trade that in, and you're still gonna have to pay a few $100s on top to get the new phone. But that's one easy way that they can still entice people to purchase these. You know, so, and look, and what they do with those trade-in phones is they turn around and either sell those or they auction them off, right, in a off-market auction. So the prices of used phones have, at the very least, held their value, and in some cases have increased slightly as far as how much they're worth after a year of use. So I think you'll see Samsung get clever with that. I think you're going to see Apple get clever with that. Well, I don't know. I don't know about Apple. They're stiflers. But you'll see Google, I think, is going to do that with the Pixel 11 series. I think you're going to see Samsung still keep those high trade-in values, even higher, even with the upcoming S27 series. So, yeah, I'm going to get one. But we'll just have to wait and see. But what I do want you to do, if you're watching this, is subscribe to the channel, because we are going to go live on July 22nd. We're going to go live, and we're going to cover all this. I'm going to let you know what the best trade-in deals are out there. We'll uncover the trade-in values if they did increase it, because look, we don't know for sure. I'm just guessing that's what they're going to do. So I want you to subscribe, because we're going to examine this launch in depth, right? We're going to see where you can get the best deals. Maybe you want the Z Fold 8, the wide body, the wide fold. We'll go find the best deals online with those. Maybe it's at AT&T, maybe it's at T-Mobile, maybe it's with Samsung, right? But stick around, we will cover all of this extensively. And I'll have a Flip 8. I think I'm going to get the white one. I think that's, they're coming with white, black, and pink. I'm certainly not getting pink. And I had the black one last year. I had the black Flip 7. They've never released a Flip series in white. At least I don't think so. And so I think that's the one that I'm going to get. So now, I don't know, have you heard anything about camera? Let's go into the upgrades, because I know they're not really, before we get out of here, I know they're not really, well, I take that back. It's getting the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. That is a big deal. That is an enormous deal on the Flip series, because the last few years they've been putting these cheap-ass Exynos CPUs in them. Well, they're okay, but nothing special. But they had the Exynos modem in there. I live in a dead spot. I absolutely need a Snapdragon modem to get T-Mobile's new 5G network. It's that big of a deal to me. So I'm ecstatic this new Flip's getting. I'm ecstatic this new Flip is getting the Exynos. Excuse me, Jesus Christ, the Snapdragon CPU, because it comes with a Snapdragon modem. Let's see here, Flip. Z Flip 8 features a dual rear camera. Oh yeah, we knew that. In single front selfie camera, the hardware setup remains largely unchanged from previous generations, relying instead on upgraded image processing. Okay, so that's where it could make, you could get better pictures and videos from this Flip 8 compared to the Flip 7. Now, they did not change the sensors as it says here. However, I am a firm believer that the Snapdragon processor is far superior to the Exynos processor when it comes to image processing. I think just that little, now it's not going to change a night, it's not going to be a drastic change where it's like going from 720p to 4K, right? But I think there'll be little subtle enhancements, like I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but you catch the drift, right? Like the image processing unit on the Snapdragon is incredible, well, at least compared to the Exynos CPU. So you should get little better videos and stuff like that. Well, the videos really wasn't an issue with me in the Flip. It was just the camera, the still photos. When you went past 3x, 4x, especially 5x, the camera quality just nosedived, and that's because it doesn't really have a periscope. I think it just has a wide and ultra wide, so it's missing a telephoto, and that's why you can't really zoom that far on those. But I carry around a couple phones with me all the time, so it's not a big deal to me. It's a good camera as long as you don't go past 3 or 4 5x. It's a decent camera, right? Let's see, it'll support 4K video, 60 frames per second. Now, I want to know is, last thing I want to look up, is the Flip 8 getting the new M16 OLED panel? Let me see what OLED panel it's getting. Damn, it's not going to have the M16 OLED panel. It's going to have the M14. Not like that's a bummer, right? I mean, that's still, technically, it's the latest and greatest. It's just the M16 panel is coming out on the new Pixel 11 series and the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max. So it's not a big deal. It's still fantastic. It's still in fact, that's the same OLED panel that the S26 Ultra has, minus the privacy shade. If this didn't have the privacy shade on it, it would be even that much better. So it's still a good panel, but the M16 is where it's at. Let's see. It features redesigned hinge structure and improved OLED backing, which drastically... Oh, so this might answer my question from earlier. Because remember, I was saying, is this new technology that Samsung has for the, what is it called? Flex Tech? Or something like that. Something like that. I was wondering, is this just going to be on the Fold 8? Like, what about the Flip? I haven't heard anything. Now, take it with a grain of salt, but Google is saying that this new Flip 8 is going to feature a redesigned hinge and improved OLED backing, which drastically reduces or eliminates the display crease. So it very well might. It sounds like they're going to put that same Flex Tech in the Flip series as well. So good news there. Hey, what do you know? We made it on Google. Look at that. The Flip 8 is the very best. Last flip model ever. That's what they're saying. That's why I'm going to get it. But maybe it's good marketing on Samsung's behalf, right? Oh, this is our last ever. You better hurry up and buy it while you can. Well, I guess I'm a sucker then. I don't know what to tell you.